Hi everyone, welcome to DuoQueue. I'm Sally.
And I'm Ryla.
This time we're going to talk about contenders and also streamers who are not in the Overwatch League.
Basically, we wanted to spotlight people who aren't in the Overwatch League, but who are still important members of like the Overwatch community or like popular, and just people like in general we think deserve a little spotlight from us.
Yeah. First of all, I did a lot of digging this morning because I don't know anything about contenders. I don't know
Yeah,
anything about it. Like I had zero things except that Runaway was a team.
that was it. That was your knowledge.
And like that was kind of it. And that they had season zero, which
They
is
did
funny.
have season 0, yeah.
They started at zero. That's like pretty much all I knew about it. So to kind of like jump into this, I want to first of all do this so that all of my research wasn't just for fucking nothing. And also just in case anybody listening doesn't actually know how contenders works,
Yeah,
Overwatch Contenders (TM) is
TM.
is meant, Contenders is meant to serve as the step before Overwatch League in the quote path to
Yeah, I was
pro.
gonna say
So
Path to Pro.
basically, you're like one step down. It's the minor leagues in baseball.
Oh,
It's
it's called Tier 2 most of the time, basically.
Yeah, so pretty much it's you play for a contenders team so that Overwatch League teams can look at you, see you play at that level, and then eventually you get signed to an Overwatch League team. That's the idea. You have to be at least 13 to play.
Jesus Christ. Actually, I'm
Mhm.
glad you looked it up because I was wondering.
Or you have to be 16 for contenders in China.
Okay.
So that's kind of fun. Now, going to be 2 seasons instead of 3 in a year. So
That's
every
wild,
se-
by the way.
yeah,
Just like,
every season starts with contenders trials, where the previous 8 teams from the last contenders season are automatically entered, and then Blizzard invites 8 new teams per region
mm-hmm.
to play against each other for the next season of contenders, and then the top 12 teams from trials will advance to
And
contenders. 8 teams that played last year are not necessarily guaranteed to play in contenders the next year.
and Trials is going on like right now. Like I've seen it a couple. I've watched a couple of them.
Now for 2019, there are going to be 8 regions. There used to be 7. Now there's
Jesus.
8. North America West, North America East,
Oh
South
wow,
America. Yeah, they split North America in half.
that's weird.
North America West, North America East, South America, Australia, China, Europe, Korea, and Pacific. The North America West, North America East split was so that they can have more academy teams play.
That's nice. I didn't know about that.
And academy teams are the teams that are affiliated with an Overwatch League team. That they have kind of a direct overhead with. They're no different than any other teams. They're only listed that way because they're officially affiliated with
Well,
an Overwatch League team.
they probably have like
So
sponsors and just like that type of like
yeah, I just mean
boost.
like as
Yeah,
far as like trialing and
yeah,
doing that kind of thing, they still have to contend and compete at the same rate. So if
yeah.
for some reason an academy team doesn't perform as well as, for example, Runaway, they don't get to play,
Yeah.
even if they're attached to an Overwatch League team.
Gotcha. You know what?
Um,
I bet they also the whole split the NA teams. It's probably because they don't do LAN anymore. So like the
yeah,
ping things will make it
yeah.
easier if they do it that way as well.
And then so after trials, so we have the top 12 teams from the trial, they go into contenders, TM.
TM.
And and that works exactly like Overwatch League. If you ever watched an Overwatch League match, the Overwatch League tournament style, it works exactly the same. They play competitive maps. They play best of 4. They always play all 4. Comes down to map differential, all that jazz. Now this year they'll have two-way players. Some teams have signed on players that are currently active on the roster for a contenders team, and they can bring them up at any point to play on an Overwatch League team. So they occupy roster spots on both the Overwatch League team that signs them and their contenders team. Do you happen to know a two-way player off the top of your head?
Yeah, Elk and Fusions and Panker. So Elk
Okay.
for Fusions for Boston Uprising and Panker for Gladiators.
You named 3 people.
Yes, I named 3 different people for you.
Okay, you said Elk and then Fusions, and Elk plays for Fusion U, so I got like confused.
No,
okay,
Fusions
so
is the player.
okay, so using Elk as our example player, Elk occupies roster spots on both Fusion University and the Philadelphia Fusion. Since the Philadelphia Fusion gets 12 spots, he is one of their 12. So they don't have like 12 roster spots and then also Elk who gets added on. He's one of their players. Elk becomes ineligible for contenders if he plays more than 2 matches in Overwatch League. So if they decide to bring Elk up twice in one season, he is now a part of the Philadelphia Fusion and he can't play for Fusion University anymore.
I'm really interested to see how that works out. Like, if they do use, like, if any team is going to use their 2-way players, or how that is going to work. I'm just curious to see how that goes.
From what it sounds like, the point of doing that is to get players who are really strong prospects to be able to practice with the Overwatch League team.
Well, and I guess
it sounds like it's a practice thing mostly. Yeah. And then to get them on the big stage maybe once.
I was going to say, because...
how they perform with the nerves and that kind of thing.
Because with, like, Elk, in particular, maybe Neptuno gets sick. They could bring Elk in to play for him because they don't have another main support anymore.
You can't play in contenders and Overwatch League in the same week, so you can't play for the Philadelphia Fusion on Tuesday and Fusion U on Friday. You can't do it. Also, because they don't play on Tuesdays, that's not how it works.
Well,
anyway.
If that was possible, they can't do it anyways.
You can't do it anyway. It's illegal both ways. And each region has a winner. So the different regions don't play against each other. They all only play in their one region. So Korea just plays against Contenders Korea. They don't cross over.
Yeah. Yeah.
The winner of Pacific Contenders was called the Hong Kong Attitude, which I appreciate.
That's Mui's team. Mui's the coach.
Go Mui.
We love you.
Thanks for Mui playing for Attitude. Are you kidding me?
Coaches Attitude.
Mui coaching Attitude. Are you kidding me? Come on.
You read off the winners.
They're winners.
Tell us who the winners are. Tell us just from the last season.
Yeah, the last season. Yeah, for season 3, the Australian winning team were the Sydney Drop Bears.
Yes, I'm aware of them. They're good.
China was T1W Esports Club. They have a pink logo, so that's pretty cool.
Support them then.
It's pink and red and blue, so that's very good.
Nice.
In Europe, Team Giganti?
Yeah.
They win. Korea was Runaway, obviously. North America was Fusion University. Pacific was Hong Kong Attitude, which is perfect.
We love him.
And then South America was a team called Looking for Team Overwatch League. LFTOWL.
Oh my god. That's actually fucking hilarious.
So that's really good. We'll revisit that later.
Jesus Christ, I love it.
As someone who was not versed at all, like I was going to say not well versed, but I was not versed at all in contenders. It sounds very complicated and like a lot of work because they play 2-3 times a year and there's no guarantee that you're actually going to get to play.
Yeah, it's pretty
like you might just play in one tournament and then be like, sorry, you're shit out of luck.
We should just preface this by saying there's no way that we could research all of the players that there are, so we're gonna miss a lot. I just highlighted some that like I'm familiar with.
I just told you there's 8 fucking districts, all with 12 teams minimum in it.
And most of the ones all of the ones that I looked at are NA contenders, just because obviously those are the ones that I think would be like the easiest to find information on for us. It seemed even some of them was, hard to find information on. But
and also, if you're really interested in contenders, we did talk extensively about Runaway in our female episode, which you should listen to anyway. And also, we are not a contenders podcast, so we're really sorry, and you should get that information somewhere else if you're really interested in contenders.
But we just thought it would be nice to highlight them. So the first player that I looked up was Mangachu.
Yay!
We love Mangachu. So he started out with a competitive background in Team Fortress 2. before he started playing Overwatch. He was a part of Team Canada both in 2017 as well as last year.
Woo!
So he was one of the players that was on XL2, which is New York's academy team that we just talked about. I guess we might as well talk about this now. But so XL2, after the last season, they decided to drop basically their whole team. Maybe there might be 2 people to look for, in quotes, local players. So they literally like gutted everyone, and Mangachu is included, which I think's pretty not great, but whatever. But the good news is Mangachu got picked up. He's now on Mayhem Academy.
Woo!
We're happy that Mangachu got picked up. He is a projectile specialist, especially Farah. He's just been known as like a very consistent player, because I read an article about, it was basically like contenders players who should be in Overwatch League, and they talked about how they felt like he was like a super consistent core part of XL2. He also just seems to be like really popular, like he's friends with a lot of the Overwatch League players. It just seems that people like love him. My fun fact about him, which is my favorite fun fact, he is the only player to have killed someone in the World Cup with Torbjorn's hammer. And not only is he the only person to do it, he did it in the gold medal match.
I'm exhausted.
I feel like if you're going to have a Tor player on your team, you want it to be Mangachu. Like, if anyone's going to play it, you want it to be him. I feel like Mangachu, he's kind of known for, like, playing those weird characters, doing well as it and everything like that.
Can we talk about his mom?
Mama Chu is the best.
I want to talk about Mama Chu.
I went to his stream. It was after the XL2 thing, and she was in there. And she was just so funny. She was like, well, I guess I need to get the pizza rolls ready for when you come home. Saying stuff like that.
I love her. Didn't she also say, like unemployed teenager or something like that?
It was something.
What did she say?
I can't remember exactly, but it was something about him being unemployed or something.
What she said is so much better than
oh my God,
what we were guessing, so I'm so glad I looked this up. She says, washed up brig player needs an income.
Yep, that's right.
Holy Christ.
Oh my God, I love her.
You said that he said, did my mom just call me washed up, a little toxic? Oh, Jesus Christ, that's amazing. I feel like she's everybody's Mama Chu.
She'll take care of anyone, I feel like.
Yeah. I want to talk about Snow.
Love you, Snow.
Who was a player for the Boston Uprising. He got to play one map at the right at the very end. He is a support player. He played for Toronto Esports, and then he played for the Uprising, and then he just played for Sky Foxes. He was born in Ethiopia, but he grew up in Dallas. And he is a support player because when he first started playing, his PC was really bad because his family had kind of hard times with money.
Yeah.
And like his friend bought him Overwatch because he couldn't afford it at the time.
Aww.
And because they didn't have a lot of money, like his internet and his PC were really bad.
Yeah.
So he played Mercy and Lucio because he didn't want to play something that needed a lot of frame rates, like McCree or Widowmaker. Yeah. And those were kind of the only things that he could do well with that kind of internet. Now that he's playing on significantly better internet, he feels a lot better about it.
Yeah,
he is very pure.
We love him.
And has the most inspiring Twitter account in the world.
Definitely.
And he is super nice. And he is always like really talkative and cute on stream.
He deserves the world.
He truly does. I think he's a little sweetheart.
He is. That's like a fact right there. The next player I had is Who Are You, which is like the best name. First of all,
I always read it incorrectly.
Well, yeah. It definitely looks a little...
I always read it as Whore You.
Yeah. To be fair, I thought it was something like that, and then I was watching and the caster said, Who Are You? And you're like, oh, that's funny.
That makes sense.
So, Who Are You is player for Fusion University, but he is currently playing for Meta Athena because he's on loan to them, which is fucking wild. So they just loaned a whole man, apparently, and yelled at Sally about it, so she, like, looked it up or tried to look it up.
Here's the thing. I looked up, when I was doing my contenders research, I looked up the actual literal rule book for contenders. Because I wanted it from the source, and the actual rules are very unclear as to whether this is actually allowed.
I mean, they did it. So.
And it's not very detailed. So hopefully we're not, like, exposing anybody.
It was on the wiki, so I'm thinking I didn't expose it.
I looked up how loaning works in soccer, which is the closest thing I could figure out to how this works. So bear with me. Basically, I'm literally just going to read this because I don't think I could express it better. So I'm going to try to sound as natural as I possibly can, but I'm going to do my best. Okay, so basically, Who Are You is signed to Fusion U, but they probably have like two players who are really good in the same role or something like that. So they can afford to give up that roster spot because they already have someone who's really good, but they want to give Who Are You playing time because he's also really good, but they don't want him just sitting on their bench. So they loan him to Meta Athena, who's probably looking for a top-tier player in the role. Those two teams can't play against each other, so they don't necessarily directly affect each other. Those two teams write up a contract, make it all legally Gucci, and Who Are You gets paid by both teams.
So basically, Meta Athena slides a paper that says I owe you, and it's got a little stick figure on it over to Fusion Universe, and they hand
I owe you, who are you?
Yeah, and they hand a whole ass man over to them, and then it's good.
Yeah, pretty much. I want to put this big disclaimer in here, like a huge one.
That this could be all wrong.
Like the biggest. I am an idiot. Capital A, capital I. I did 4 seconds of Googling and tried to interpret this as best I could, and there's really no official information from contenders about how this works. So I'm guessing.
Yes. Who Are You's like fucking insane, apparently. He is most notably known for being a part of the winning Apex team in season 2 and 3, and that's with Lunatic High. He won the MVP for Apex season 2 alongside Jaehong. He was with the Fusion Universe during season 1 and 2. The only reason he's not in the Overwatch League, as far as we know, is that he's 17, so he can't even be signed until season 3.
Well, sometimes it be like that.
Like, from what I could see, is like he's like a really good player. He's known for like playing Genji, and it just seemed like he was really fucking good. So that's why it's kind of wild that they loaned him, but I guess they had a lot of other good people too. Obviously they didn't, like, they still won without him, so like Fusion U's kind of like owning the contenders in a... So that's all I really had on him, but like I said, from what I could tell, it seemed like he's pretty well, like, he's like considered a standout player. The only players, I guess I should have did more research, but I had 2 more Fusion University players. So I wanted to talk about Elk, who we talked about. He is a 2-way player, but we've never really like talked about Elk during our normal like Overwatch League thing, so I felt like we should talk about him now. So like as we said, he's part of the Fusion University, who has won 3 consecutive NA Contenders title.
Nutty.
He is the main support player, and he's also the in-game leader for Fusion University. So it says he does he does the ultimate tracking, he does shot calling, and then not only does he do that, but he's like one of the main people who facilitates communication between the teams because 2 of the players aren't fluent in English. So like he said that he was like a big part in, I guess, like making sure they understand and taking care of that. He also, like, there was an interview with him, and he talked about how he like really loves statistical analysts and stuff like that. So he does VOD reviews a lot. Actual analysts, coaches, and contender players often go there to like talk with them about it and go over that. So it seems like he's like really into that aspect of like pro play instead of just playing. So that's pretty cool. I don't know a lot about him, but as far as I can tell, he seems like he's a really good player and he seems like a cool dude. The last player I had is Alarm, who is the flex support player for Fusion U. The reason that I even looked him up was because Elk specifically talked about him in the interview that I read. Just like Who Are You, he is 17 years old, so he's not eligible for Overwatch League until season 3 anyways. He was also a part of the Lunatic High team. Elk like talked about him. He said he had never really played with any Senatas before who played that well, so that being able to play with him, he was able to ask him what he should do to be better at support. Playing with Alarm has made him a better like support player and teammate. So I thought that was nice. Really nice. And as far as I could tell, it seemed like Alarm is also like a super good player.
So we're going to talk about some streamers who are Overwatch League community members, just people who stream Overwatch, are part of the community, and we like them.
And they need, a little love.
Do you want to talk about Calvin?
Yeah, let's talk about Calvin.
Calvin's funny.
Calvin's fucking hilarious.
That's my first bullet point, says funny.
Yeah, funny. Got it.
Calvin's funny.
He is.
He is, I think, inarguably one of the biggest Overwatch community streamers.
Oh, yeah. I think so.
He did used to play on a team with Muma, a competitive team. He played on Gale Esports for a year with Muma. He also temporarily played pro Fortnite.
Oh my god. Of course he did.
But he has said a bunch of times, and like, this is the only thing that you get when you fucking Calvin Overwatch. You get, Calvin doesn't want to play competitively. That's what you get. Like, tons of articles like, how come Calvin's not a pro? Because he says he doesn't like the rigidity of playing for a team. He wants to do what he wants.
He wants to, yeah. That makes sense.
And also, streaming on his own is pretty fucking lucrative.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he's probably good.
He makes a shit ton of money.
As popular as he is, he said.
He's got lots of sponsors. He is killing it. He doesn't need it, so... He's known for McCree.
Yeah, definitely.
Mostly, I think. Hitscan.
Yeah, aimbot Calvin. So
aimbot Calvin. He has an alt account called Pegasus. That one I know.
Well, here's the thing about Calvin.
Or something.
Calvin has fucking 30 million alt accounts, but you always know it's him because he has the most recognizable voice in the world.
He really, truly does.
He has an account that's like a series of numbers as well. I don't even know what it is, but I know it's him because I hear him talking. I'm like, that's Calvin.
You're like, oh, Calvin's here. He really does. Yeah. He has the most. Yeah, you know it's him in a second. Mm-hmm. Says one word.
Okay, Calvin.
I don't ever watch, like, Calvin's actual stream.
Just, like, through osmosis, we see him.
Yeah, like, because he plays at such a high level, he gets put in games with professional players that we watch. Yeah. And every time he's on their teams, he makes the game so much better because he's so funny.
It's fun.
And, like, especially, like, with Surefour and with players he knows really well, like, he and Silk Thread will go back and forth. Like, they have so much fun playing together, like, giving each other shit and whatever, that it makes it really fun to watch.
He's another one of those players I would say. Like I said, Mangachu is, like, friends with a lot of the pros. I would say the same thing about Calvin.
Yeah, agreed.
My fun fact about Calvin that you might not have known is...
You found a fun fact about Calvin? No, I'm going to smack you.
I didn't find it. I just know this from personal experience. He was actually on Season 0 on a Contenders... in quotes team, like a trial thing. He was on a team with Seagull. Ooh. It was called Kelvin and the Chipmunks. I don't know why they didn't call it Calvin.
Oh my god.
It was called Kelvin and the Chipmunks. It also had Clone Man, who was one of the XL2 players.
It was right fucking there, you assholes. It was right there, Calvin and the Chipmunks.
I'm pretty sure they said there was a reason. I can't remember what it was.
Whatever the reason, it's not good enough to not have named it that.
But yeah, so it was him and Seagull. That was the first time I ever really, like... saw Calvin, because Seagull was one of the first people I watched in streams, and I just remember he was so fucking funny, because like this was when, like I said, it was Season 0, so this was just like open trials basically, and the players could stream it, so like it was just Seagull streaming, and you could hear their comms and everything.
What the fuck?
It was so good.
Oh my god, that sounds like a nightmare.
No, it was great. So the next person I had, both of the people that I had that are streamers are actually their streamers for a team. I have Emong, who he is a streamer for the Philadelphia Fusion.
I also always read his name incorrectly.
What do you read his name as? Like Egg?
I always No. However, I'm going to start calling him Egg now. I always read it as Emon GG.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. So
that's why.
That's funny. He did play CSGO competitively before Overwatch. He is a flex player, but I feel like he's mostly off-tank. Like, I usually see him as, like, a Diva Zarya player. He was on Selfless before Overwatch League, and Selfless is a team that had Defran, Dak, Sinatra. They were known for their aggressive play style. Like, they would frequently, like, spawn camp the teams and, like, hold them in spawn. So they were
toxic.
Yeah, I mean, so, like I said, he is a streamer for the Philly Fusion.
Can I say that I think that this, like, streamer for the team role is really, really interesting.
It is. So it's basically like they're just kind of like a brand. What would you call it? Like a
brand, kind of like a brand ambassador.
Yeah, that was the word I was looking for.
Almost.
So like he wears their skin. He has their logos. him and Fran, they're all going to be in that. By the time this podcast is up, it'll already have happened. But during the community countdown, they're going to have the talent cast play, and they're going to be on teams with them.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool that they like are supporting people who aren't exactly don't play pro anymore, but are still competitive players.
Yeah, I think that's a really cool option.
Yeah, I like
for
that.
people who have an audience and a following and play competitively, but not necessarily for a team.
Yeah, I like it.
I think that's cool.
So he is known for being like super upbeat and positive streamer. He always is doing shot calling and stuff in his games.
Even if no one's listening.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I found when I was trying to research him, I found a really funny article that had a clip that I sent to Sally where it was basically he was on a team and his team wouldn't talk, so he started shot calling for the team and like pretending to be them, and it was really funny. I haven't watched a lot of Emong. I've started watching a little bit more, but I usually, I see him play through, like we talked about with Calvin, I see him get queued up with Overwatch League players. He and Fran usually play together a lot, so I've seen both of them. I always remember, do you remember this when they were with and against Architect, and they would go, "Nice, Architect"? Do you remember that?
No.
Oh my god, I'm so sad. But Architect would do anything, they go, "Nice, Architect," and still to this day, like Fran will post like something on Twitter, and then Architect will reply, "Nice, Fran," and stuff. So it's like really cute.
That's so cute.
So Emong actually has Asperger's, which if you don't know what that is, it's the developmental disorder, like where you have difficulties with social interaction and nonverbal communication. Just recently, when they had the Anna event, he and Fran played with a little girl who also has Asperger's. She's like, I believe it was a fan's daughter, so they got I guess they had talked, and so she got to play with them on stream, and it was like really cute.
That's adorable.
I just thought that was really nice that they played with her. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Basically, Emong is like super positive, and I don't know. I feel like he's such a good person to have in the community when the community can be, toxic at times. To have someone that is continuously like positive and everything like that.
Yeah, especially someone who is now hooked up to an actual team.
Yeah, we talked about her in the last episode, but I just want to mention that Fran again is a great player, streamer. She plays she is a streamer for Atlanta Reign. Don't have any more information than I had last time, but she's great, and we should all support her.
Can I talk about something with Fran?
Yes.
She once proposed to Gaguri on stream.
Yes.
And Gaguri said, "I'm so young."
I'm so young. And then...
and now Fran always calls her wife, and Gaguri will, call her honey and stuff.
Yeah.
Which I think is super sweet.
The recent thing was, we need to
she
talk.
tweeted out a picture of some food or something, and Fran goes, "Excuse me, my wife. We need to have a talk about this in private." And Gaguri said, "Honey, this is God food."
There you go. It's God food.
Regardless of whether she actually meant God food or she meant good food, either way, perfect.
Perfect.
So I have Grim Reality next. Grim was formerly a player for the LA Valiant, and then he was a coach for the Valiant, and now he is a semi-streamer floating out in the ether somewhere.
We love him, so we felt like we should talk about him.
I love him, and I want to shout him out. Originally formed the team that Agilities joined, which became Immortals. So Grim started that team, and then they were picked up by Immortal.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, so Grim formed, it was called Sodi Pop. SODIPOP. Sodi Pop. With 3 of his friends, and then Agilities and someone named Hyped joined that team. And then they were picked up by Immortals, and then they won first place of Contenders Season 0. They were also qualified to play in Season 1, but they were eliminated in group stages.
No.
And then Grim and Agilities got picked up by the Valiant at the same time.
Yay.
He never actually got to play, but he's a DPS player. Towards the middle of the season, Grim was dropped off the roster, but he wanted to stay with the Valiant so much that they pretty much made a role for him and made him an assistant coach. They had to create a new like coaching role so that they could keep him with the team. He doesn't play for the Valiant anymore, but he is still playing ranked, and he streams with other people sometimes. He'll duo with agilities a lot.
Yeah.
I looked up a couple of clips from when they were playing as Immortals, and he is nutty, especially on Tracer. My favorite thing about Grim Reality is that he and Agilities and Crib and Silk Thread are an unbreakable 4-person team, and I love them. And Agilities and Carib love them so much that they named their cat after him.
Yeah.
Whatever happens to him, I hope he's doing well.
Yeah, he's been streaming a lot.
But he's around. Yeah. So go watch Grim Reality.
Go support Grim. The next person that I had to talk about was Mendo. So his full name is Mendo Kusai.
Yay,
he was
Mendo.
An Outlaws player, but he never got to play. And then this season, they moved him to be a content creator. So I would say he's basically a streamer for the team, like we talked about Emog and them, but they specifically called him a content creator, so take that however you want. Mendo Kusai.
Find that for yourself.
Yeah, Mendo Kusai means troublesome or bothersome in Japanese. So
oh my god.
He
called himself annoying.
Yeah, he did.
That's his name.
That's, that's fair.
I love it. That's a mood.
He played CSGO competitively. So he has a younger brother, Luddy, who plays in EU contenders for Angry Titans, and Luddy was also on the Swedish World Cup team. So we love brother duos who play competitive.
We love brothers.
Before Overwatch League, he's a part of Cloud9.
C9GG.
C9GG.
He was doing that. It was him. He helped.
He was a part of the C9. He helped C9. The last thing I had about him, he has a very cute dog, which we can personally attest to, because my favorite story is when we were at the arena, we left for the night of a game, and we were outside, and we're like, oh my god, look at that dog, it's so cute. And then we were like, oh, look, that person has an Outlaws hoodie on. They're like, oh, that's Mendo.
I remember looking at from the ground up, saw the ground. Oh, yeah. Dog, cute dog. Looked up. Oh, good Outlaws sweatshirt. And then I saw the head, and I went, oh, hair. Wait, that's Mendo hair.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Mendo face. That's Mendo and Mendo's dog. That's how that. That's how it worked out in my brain.
Yeah, that was how it went. It was dog, cute dog. Oh, Outlaws. Oh, Mendo.
Oh, Mendo.
Which is just very funny.
So, love you, Coda. Yeah.
Don't have anything else.
Mendo's funny.
Yeah, Mendo's funny. I like him.
And I especially like how he interacts with Muma.
Yeah.
They always go back and forth and tease each other.
I'm glad that they were able to keep him on the Outlaws in some aspect.
Yeah, because he also talked kind of about how he struggled to kind of adjust in the first season with kind of the toughness of the schedule and kind of figuring out how he was going to manage pro play. So I'm glad that they kind of helped him out.
But he's a good stream boy. We support Mendo.
We love you, Mendo.
Yeah. And who do we have for last?
We have Silk Thread for last.
Silk Thread.
I love Silk Thread.
Silk Thread's
my first bullet point is I love him.
It's a good bullet point. We could just stop the podcast here.
Yeah.
But we're
Silk
not.
Thread, I love him. End of podcast. Silk Thread is one of my favorite players, so I'm gonna talk about him with some fondness.
This is the rest of the podcast, so GG go next.
He started out playing for the Valiant in Overwatch League. Then he went to the Gladiators, and then very briefly he played for the Chengdu Hunters before he retired.
Yeah.
Sad face. He's gonna go to college and study business, and he's going to do great. So that's what he's doing now.
Yeah.
He's getting ready to go to college and be a good college boy.
What a good college boy.
He is a nutty Zarya, as well as a Genji and Pharah player. He's technically projectile DPS, but if you've seen him play Zarya, he should play Zarya all the time.
Okay. Yeah,
it's insane.
Zarya's nutty.
He has an alt account that's TZW, which are his initials, and everybody asks him what his middle name is all the time. It's just the letter Z.
Love it.
It's supposed to be something else, that his parents filled his birth certificate out wrong.
I mean, it happens to the best of us,
Yeah, well, to their credit, his parents are Chinese immigrants, so it's not necessarily their fault.
No.
But Ted grew up in Texas. I was born here and grew up in Texas.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw, indeed. His number was 9. because his birthday is 1/9/1999. But Ted is really funny. I like him.
Yes.
He's best friends with Agilities and Grim Reality and Crib.
Can we go back for a second? I want to circle back.
Yeah.
Rumors have it, Agilities and Silk Thread both wanted the number 9, and so they had to have a 1v1 to see who got it. And Silk Thread won, but now that he's retired, Agilities has become number 9, and I like to believe that's because they're good friends and he wanted to be number 9, just like that too.
For the record, that should not have even been an argument because his birthday is... Look at the 9s in his birthday.
Yeah, you don't know why Agilities wanted it. What if he had a good reason?
Now it's in memory of Ted.
Yeah, now it's for Ted.
He's friends with Agilities and Grim Reality and Crib, and on Twitter when Agilities and Crib were asking for names for their cat, Silk Thread put out Tedward as a name for the cat, and he was very upset when they didn't pick it.
Why didn't they pick it?
Because they named him Grim.
They should have named him like Grim Ted or
Ted Reality.
Yes. Maybe his middle name is like Ted and we just didn't know it.
Yeah, maybe he's Grim Reality Silk Thread.
Yeah.
He is cute and I love him. He has hamster emotes in his Discord and they're adorable.
I'm just saying, if you're not watching Silk Thread, you should do that when he streams, even though he doesn't stream a whole lot.
Yeah, but he's nice, and he's one of the ones that will pay attention to chat and stuff. He tries really hard to talk to people and to interact with his fans and stuff, which I think is really nice. Yeah. And he says he wants to continue streaming while he's going to school and everything, so he also said that he might want to use this business degree he's going to get to go back into esports, but maybe on the business side.
That'd be cool.
So we'll see if that works out, but I think that would be really neat.
I hope he does.
Also proud of him.
Proud of you.
Proud of you, Tedo.
For arcade this week, we're going to do a little fun activity, and we're just going to talk about some teams have some great names.
Do you want to go first or me?
The very first one, my favorite is Chicken Contendies. Because that's fucking hilarious to me. I just love it. They have a little chicken as their logo. It's very cute. They have Harblue on their team, who is a popular. See, you even know who that is. It's a popular streamer.
I know who Harblue is. I just looked up funny Overwatch League team names, but not all of them are still in existence. But one of my favorite ones was a team that Clockwork used to play on.
Oh my god, I don't know where this is going.
And it was called Fine, I'll Go McCree.
I love that. It's so fucking funny.
Which I think is a really good one.
It is.
Fine, I'll Go McCree.
I'm looking at the Trials teams, and for Contenders China, there's a team called Team Stop Feeding, which is just beautiful, like so simple, and gets right to the point. Yeah, I love it. I mean, I feel that. I've told people to stop feeding. I get it.
I brought this up briefly earlier, but I just want to once again appreciate LFTOWL looking for Team Overwatch League who won South American Contender this year.
Beautiful.
Just want to shout that out one more time because that is prime.
We should. I agree. The next one I have is Young and Beautiful, and
I had that one too. It's such a cute little logo. Yeah,
I was gonna say I'm just gonna paste this here so I have it for later. But their logo is like a little sun. It's sun, I guess.
It's a flower. It looks like something off the Teletubbies.
You're canceled.
My next one, I have a two-parter.
Okay.
So there's one team, and they're called Orgless and Hungry.
Yes, I saw that. I love that.
They have a little soup for their logo, which is adorable. Cute. And then right after them was We Have Org. WHO for short.
Yeah, I was gonna say then it's Who for short, which is
perfect.
Good.
Just to flex on Orgless and Hungry. We have Org.
Pretty rude, to be honest. Next, I think Bazooka Puppies is funny.
I had Bazooka Puppies.
First of all, their icon is a little puppy with a bazooka and he's got his tongue sticking out, so that's
adorable.
Great. I love it.
Did you have based tryhards?
I didn't. That's good though. So
fucking tryhards.
Damn.
Last Night's Leftovers.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Is a team, which I think is hilarious. I have one that is in all caps with 3 exclamation points. I need healing.
Oh my god.
There's no N in healing.
Well, why would there be?
I need healing.
I get it.
Can I tell you my favorite one? It's my favorite one.
Yeah, what's your favorite one?
You guys get paid?
Well, for the last little thing, we each were going to come up with our own team name. So my team name is one that I came up with pretty long time ago. My team would be Seagulls, but like the letter C dash goals, and it's because we're like C team level of Seagull. Like we're nowhere near as good as him, but you know, maybe Seagull can coach us. Seagull, if you want to be coach of the Seagulls, let me know.
I have 2.
You have 2. Now you're showing off.
I have 2.
Go on, you show off.
Okay, one of them, it definitely I made up, and we definitely didn't hear someone say it before. Is Big Clout Energy.
Definitely not anything Avast said. Just
Definitely
mere days ago. Mere days
I think
ago.
it's a very good team
It
name.
is. I actually agree. I would love to be on Big Cloud Energy, actually.
Okay, so this one came from when we were naming our fantasy league teams.
Okay.
We were doing that random name generator.
Uh-huh.
Throwing at the disco.
Oh my god, yes. I love it.
As always, thanks for listening. Like, subscribe. You can follow our Twitter at No Control Gamers. And GG, go next.
GG, go next.